The opinions expressed in this program reflect only those of the participants and are not necessarily those of the sponsors, management, or staff of WTBQ Radio or FST Broadcasting Corporation.
WTBQ. Good morning and happy Friday. Welcome to Travel, Adventure, and Wellness. I am Brenda Otto with Sunray Travel, and I have my co-host in the studio today, Julie Bach with Cancer for Wellness. Thank you for being here today on this rainy Friday in New York.
I'm so happy to be back in New York. So I love the show. So let's kick it off.
Okay. So everybody, we just want to kind of just briefly remind everybody that the show is about wellness travel for cancer patients and any survivors going through anything, and also their caregivers. We want to be able to provide information so that you can actually just go out and adventure and get relaxed, rejuvenate, and just experience life as best as you can. Julie and myself this past couple of days had a wonderful experience. We were able to travel up to the Berkshires and stay at the Miraval resorts in the Berkshires, and we had a very nice, relaxing, and rejuvenation couple of days. So we really want to thank them for having us and introduce them. They are going to be our guests on the show. So with us today, we have Gilbert Santana. He's the general manager at Miraval Berkshires. Hey, Gilbert, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hello, Brendan, Julie. So great to see you again.
And also with us, we have Dina Nykamp. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. She's the Associate VP of Sales, Marketing, and Brand. Hey, Dina.
Hi, Brenda. Thank you so much for having us. Hi, Julie.
Hello.
Thank you guys for having us. We had a really wonderful experience at Miraval these past 2 days. It really was wonderful. We had when we went, I planned out like a whole list of activities, and then I did most of them. But Julie, really, I think you really went all out and did a ton of things there.
No, I didn't.
No. It seemed like you did. I mean, you did like 2 yoga classes or 3 yoga classes.
Yeah. Well, so a little bit about me before we go ahead and speak about Miraval is that I've been doing this work for 20 years, really helping people with cancer feel comfortable going to resorts. And so Miraval is always one of those that I've wanted to highlight in our work. And, one of the great things I do get to do in my job as a judge for the industry is poor me. I get to go to all these great places and evaluate them. So this time I didn't have to evaluate. I just got to enjoy. So yes, I went to 2 yoga classes. And I did pottery with you.
Yes.
That was really fun. And then I did a kintsugi class, which is something that I teach on our app for people with cancer, is we broke a bowl and then I got to glue it back together, and it looked even prettier than it did in its brilliance beforehand. So we had a beautiful time, and it was a really nice and healing time at Miraval.
Yes. So let's kind of get Gilbert here in and ask you some questions. When people, we could talk about ours, but when people arrive at your resort, what are the experiences that they're actually going to enjoy there?
Well, love the question. We have about 180 active experiences and over 300 in rotation. So there's a variety of ways to enter Miraval. I like to say that we open the door wide enough that you could pick and feel comfortable starting your journey and craft that journey with you. But just having that door open with the amount of different places that you can go, from farm to garden to nutrition, culinary, the starting point is yours.
Love that. And so if somebody hears of Miraval, how do they start to set their intention as to what they might want to do?
Intention gathering. Yes. Intention gathering is self-reflection, right? What we try to do is open up the conversation for you to start self-reflecting on things that may be weighing on you, and maybe, if not finding yourself again, rejuvenating yourself, resetting yourself. There's many ways to set those intentions. Sometimes we can be our own worst critics. So, letting go of that backpack that you've been carrying and not knowing. So we try to just give you a platform. We've done that also in many ways. We do that from the reservation standpoint, but we also do it in a gong ceremony, where you're comfortable speaking to one of our professionals here, and they're actually walking you through how to set an intention. Because sometimes, believe it or not, it's one of the hardest things to do, is to set what you really want to do and move forward with.
Yeah.
I was going to add to that. I think that is the toughest part. Everyone's at a different level in their well-being journey. And for those who are really tuned in, and Julie, it sounds like, with your experience and work, you would know exactly what you wanted to experience at your Miraval Berkshires trip. But others are really beginning their journey, and they know maybe they want to go on a well-being journey, but they don't know where to start. And that's where I think our brand is really rare, and that we still offer so much personal service. That's through our experience planning team that would, get on the phone with you and just help you kind of peel the onion. What are you coming in for? What's weighing on you? Like Gilbert said, what's in that backpack? What do we want to help you with? We certainly don't expect everyone to know our over 180 offerings, although you called out one of our favorites, Kintsugi, The Art of Imperfection. And so we're there to guide you. We also offer tools online, but what I think is really magical in our industry is still having human beings that will guide you and take you through this planning process and really personalize that itinerary.
Yeah, so it's actually interesting because I hadn't planned on taking the Kintsugi class, and we met two women in our pottery class, and I loved the instructor, Veronica, and she was doing my journaling class next, and then all of a sudden I got roped into, for lack of a better way, of, this is kind of a fun little party. I'm going to go to the next class of Kintsugi with you guys. So it wasn't even something I planned, and same thing with the cardio class with drumsticks, right? So someone's like, come to this one. So actually the interaction with several of the other guests is what opened doors to me of, okay, I didn't see that, so I'm going to try that one.
Julie, you're so right. And what we do is we plan for the plan changing. So no matter how hard we plan ahead of time and how much time we spend, we know, just like you're describing, you're going to get on site, you're going to talk to someone, you're going to see something. We have these beautifully printed guides that almost act like journals and souvenirs. Hopefully you enjoyed them. And then you start exploring and your mind changes, or you find something new. And so we do have teammates ready to help you pivot and reschedule, because it's really common that you hear something and you want to switch it up once you're on site.
Yeah. And I'd like to say also that, many times as you're looking for that new direction or pivoting, it's great to speak with an experienced planner, because we want to make sure that your next step is one that you're ready for. So, as you navigate through Miraval, there's an emotional journey many times, and we want to make sure we're not overdoing that. But, we're actually explaining to you some of these classes. And Beauty of Imperfection, Art of Imperfection is one of my favorites. My team's going to scream at me now because I'm not supposed to have a favorite. But it's one that's near and dear to me, and I actually have the bowl on my desk that I started with, so I will never let it go, right? It's been on my desk for 15 months now, but it does, there's high significance in that bowl now.
Well, it was funny because when I was trying to glue the bowl back together, I got my hands glued together, and I did it twice. And so so I was like, well, and the bowl would not glue back together. So I was like, okay, maybe it's just left to be 3 separate pieces. And then I said, no, I don't ask for help. And this is an opportunity for me to ask for help. So the other women helped with my hands glued shut. They helped put my bowl back together. And so that was something that I was really working on. And it was so funny. I giggled. I'm like, this is something I've been working on, is to be specific in asking for help. And that's one thing that I know with the clients I work with cancer, that they think it's a weakness, right, to ask for help. And it's not. And that was just a little lesson in just putting a bowl back together, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
So we're going to be taking a break right now for just a couple of minutes. So everybody just stay with us, and we will be right back with travel, adventure, and wellness. We would love for you to text in some comments. So you could text in at 845-328-0886, and we will be right back.
Brenda Otto of Sunray Travel promises you more than a trip. She builds you a world-class adventure. Brenda customizes travel for those going through or recovering from cancer and their families and friends. Contact Brenda by visiting sunray-travel.com Whether local, in your state, or anywhere in the USA, overseas, or to a beachy island, start your itinerary now by going to sunray-travel.com and live your dreams.
Hey, I'm TJ.
What's up? I'm J-Bo.
Join us on the next TJ show, and you're going to hear a song created from scratch by a computer. Literally, typed in a little message, it spit it out at me. It's freaky.
It's going to be fascinating.
You got to hear it. It's actually kind of good. It's coming up on the next TJ show.
This is Jeff Berkman, and I invite you to tune in to the Wednesday Morning Roundtable on Radio Worth Listening to, New Jersey and Orange Free Radio. Free to express your opinions every Wednesday at 10 a.m.
Hey, welcome back to Travel, Adventure, and Wellness. I'm Brenda Otto with Sunray Travel and my co-host Julie Bach with Wellness for Cancer. We have Miraval Berkshires Resorts with us today. We have Gilbert Santana. He's the general manager of the Miraval Berkshires, and Dina Niekamp is the associate VP of Sales, Marketing, and Brand. So, Gilbert, I just wanted to touch base on one thing that I really enjoyed while I was there, and that a lot of people go through problems with is sleep. And I found that your beds, I didn't want to get out of the bed, but I know for people that are going through a lot, that sleep is one of those things that we really need to touch on when it comes to healing.
That's right. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I would tell you that that's one of the things that I continually work on. I think the challenge with sleep is that sometimes we don't know we have lack of sleep, right? And I'd say that in the U.S., probably the majority, if not 2/3 of the U.S., are in need of sleep. Finding that peaceful rest and finding different ways to be able to go into meditative states and relax yourself is something that we have experts here on. We constantly concentrate on making sure that we're carving paths and showing people breathing exercises. So there's a tremendous amount of specialists here that can take care of that and give you options and give you exercises so you can go into these realms of sleep. But it is a class that's actively participating as well, because I believe that through the journey, as you start looking through the book of how many incredible educational programs we have, it stands out that people say, oh, I didn't even think about, having a conversation with a specialist about sleep. And it has many, many great results. And our bed doesn't hurt either, right? No. It can take you to the realm.
Not at all.
The peacefulness. There's a lot of intention in everything we do, and hopefully you've seen it.
Yes.
It's the way we sort of build the resort around well-being without having to explain it all to you. It just feels right. Yeah. And if you go through the process right and you get a great night's sleep, you and I were speaking yesterday, is we'd love for you, if you have to cancel a morning class, let us know. And if you want to rest that morning, please do, right? Because you're finding that new spirit in you that you may need to rest. So, yes, it's an incredible journey here with sleep, and the amount of offerings that we have from the spa to programs is unlimited.
I mean, I think
that's the most interesting part too. We have floating meditation and spa treatments. Like, you can really take it any which way that's comfortable for you and your exercise. If it's learning more about that meditation that puts you to sleep later, or if it's something that's spa-centered, like a massage or aromatherapy or acupressure, we really pivot, again, based on everyone's personal interests, how hands-on or self-journey they might want to be.
I love that you touched on that, Dina, because it's exactly that, the personalization. And again, I specialize with people with cancer, so up to 8 in 10 people have issues sleeping during their cancer journey, whether that's from surgery, whether that's from their medication, whether that's from a monkey mind. And so, being able to, I talked to a few people that took a yoga nidra class, some people because they were eating better, maybe not having alcohol, exercise, stress reduction, all of that helps with sleep. And that's an easy one. And my favorite, as you mentioned, is massage. And when I tell people is you don't have to do anything. Like, you just have to take your clothes off and lay on a table, right? So that's like the lazy man's way into wellness. It's the gatekeeper in a way that if you're too exhausted to do anything, that is the best way to have a good night's sleep without having to do anything.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
That was the one thing I think I'll be honest with you, the night that I probably had one of the best nights sleep at your resort, because maybe you're right. I had a massage, right? I had a massage. Then we went to dinner.
Yeah.
And then, for the rest of the night, I just kind of crashed. And I woke up the next morning and I just I felt completely energized. I was totally relaxed. It was really one of the best night's sleep that I had in a really long time. So I think in conjunction with doing some nice stretching exercises while we were there, doing the massage was just wonderful. I had a really great massage for 55 minutes. It was fabulous. And then, of course, we're going to get into the food that you have there, but then also going in and just resting and getting a really good night's sleep. It really, I did miss the morning class the next day because I did not want to get out of that bed. It was just so comfortable.
You can purchase those beds. Not the bed itself.
We hate to monetize it. We bring Miraval home.
Really? How could I do that? Bring that bed home? But no, it's so important, like you said, for people that are going through whatever situation it is, that healing process. Sleep really is so important. And I think people, they don't realize that sometimes. They just cut that part out. And that's the part where the body really needs to heal, is a good night's sleep.
And I think nutrition, let's pivot a little into that and explore that or unpack it. That nutrition is a huge piece in healing. And, I don't even know how to chop food very well. My kids make fun of me, and I didn't make the cooking class, but next time I will, because they laugh at how dull I make a knife when I chop carrots or something. But tell us a little bit about the nutritional programs or the cooking programs that you have to help people make better choices or learn to prepare meals that are more healthy.
Sure. I'll start here. I'm sure Dina will refine what I'm saying here, but I will tell you that the way we've built our resort is through a culinary experience that fits the well-being philosophy without overwhelming it, right? So what ends up happening is we have about 9 chefs in the Miraval Berkshires, and they're all experts. We also have a dietitian on staff. So everything we start building from a nutritional standpoint has a baseline from a nutritional expert and a culinary expert, and they build these together. That goes through all of our programming as well. So not only are we farming locally, we have our own farm that we have seasonally here. We partner with incredible local partners to get the best ingredients, and we also make sure that seasonally every menu is changed to fit the season. And you may go to certain places that don't pivot off of their menu items. We do. So our menu has a 4-day rotation in the restaurant, and we can customize any meal for you, any single meal. And then in Just Cook For Me, you will have a chef curating this beautiful dinner and this interchangeable conversation that will start giving you sort of ideas of how to work in the kitchen, and it's never overwhelming. It's very practical cooking done well, and then we just share our philosophy always is in combination with what we cook. I don't know, Dina?
Yeah, just to add on to that, well said.
Well, I think
I was just going to add. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to add that outside of the primary restaurant, my favorite part, this was kind of funny, but is also the snacks that go along with it. So I love the unlimited smoothies, the grab-and-go items. I'm like a nosher throughout the day. So while I would love to sit down for a meal, and I do, what I always enjoy is that you can just kind of rehydrate, grab a little something, especially if you're over-programmed, which I always tend to do when I'm at the properties and I'm like running to the next thing, which is not recommended. Taking time and enjoying is, but I love that there's really healthy down to even something sweet, very nourishing elements that you can grab and go and keep the experience moving.
I love that. And go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you would think in a well-being resort that a burger has no place, but we meet you where you're at. So we have burgers on our menu as well. Everything we do is really curated. But believe it or not, if you're exercising, if you're walking around this resort, it's 400 acres, so you could build up an appetite. And we're ready to do what we need to make sure that you feel well nourished. So it's not this, no salt. That we really customize everything to fit our guest needs, and we can customize on the spot.
Okay, so like for clients that are going there prior, if they have some dietary issues, should they call ahead or just wait until they get on property and review that with the chef that's on staff that day?
So never feel worried if you haven't shared early enough.
Okay.
We can pivot really fast. What typically happens with our guests is if there's allergies or any sort, EPs, our planners, will get that information, and we translate that every single day for arrivals.
Okay.
What we don't want to do is bog you down with asking additional questions. So we have your information. When you make your reservations, it ties to the information we have. We verify it with you, and if there's any changes, then we customize that for you.
That's perfect.
I really liked the aspect that you were just talking about, Dina and Gilbert, with the cafe. I actually found it very much of a social hub if I wanted to engage. And so I met a few single or solo travelers, and it was a nice place to, reconnect and touch. Okay, sometimes we got a little loud in our conversations, but it was a nice social wellness aspect. And was that intentionally designed that way?
Yes, the roost. If you go to any of our 3 Miravals, we have a landing spot where most of our guests congregate. We call ours the roost. And so you were in the right spot to congregate and even get a little loud. It's good, right? We have those fireside chats and get to know people. It's also part of your journey. Not everything you do here has to be a program. It's getting to know new people, feeling comfortable around them. Sometimes, having worked all day and not talking to somebody that's outside of your current day-to-day is a great way to build that momentum here, right? I get to know someone, and become friends, we share our journey together, and before you know it, now there's a beautiful Miraval experience between 3, 4, or 5 people. We also have communal tables in the restaurant where you can join, and, there's somebody there, and you want to join them, please, right? And we start that social conversation. And don't feel bad. They typically get loud. It's good.
No,
and then it calms down right after.
The whole aspect, the way everything was designed for actually comfort and actually interaction, because even in the restaurant when you sat down, we happened to be I went by myself one morning for breakfast, and they sat me next to somebody, and we just started up a conversation, which was great. So, and then of course then we met again at the fireplace, and so I think the way that you have the whole social aspect of the way that the property is laid out is really built for interaction amongst the other guests. And that's another, I think that's wonderful, because that's another way of healing too, right? For people to actually be social with each other.
Absolutely. In this day and age, I think it's more important than ever.
Yeah.
Brenda and Julie, you both touched on the fact that at times you were a solo traveler. And what I'll say about all of our Miravals is that while we certainly welcome groups of all sizes, small to large, we really specialize in thinking through that solo traveler experience as well. Just like Brenda mentioned, where are we seating you? We're very thoughtful and intentional about everything we do. And just as you both mentioned, you do end up meeting people and building bonds. I've been with the company for 4 years, and on my very, very first trip, when I took the job, I met a woman in Arizona who was from Austin, and we stayed in touch. She obviously didn't know I worked there. We just bonded. We had dinner together one night. And to this day, we email, we stay in touch. When I visit our Austin property, she'll come and join me, and we say hello. And this is a very common story. And to think about, especially someone with cancer who's going through their own journey, the bonds that they could make and the connections that they could make could serve them in many different ways. It's just one nod to how we can keep sort of the Miraval magic alive far after you've checked out. So I think it's a really powerful thing, and one we're very focused on.
Yeah, and I think because there's such a large variety of activities, one of the things that I coach my clients going through cancer is that taking time away from what we would call cancer land, where your life is defined by cancer on a daily basis, and reconnecting or finding a new passion. So even in our pottery class, no one had done pottery. And then another person told me how they reconnected with dance, and they hadn't danced before. And so they were rekindling, and their body felt more alive. That must be something that happens that you recognize quite often, right? That people either rekindle passions or they find something new.
Absolutely. I think that's what the self-discovery part, right? We typically can see that day in and day out. You're finding somebody that came in a little shy, the next day they're smiling a little more. Sometimes they're going through an emotional journey, right? So there's maybe a roller coaster ride, but at some point you start seeing them almost come to life again. And it's so regular in the Miravals, right? Because it's, once again, self-discovery. So things that I wouldn't be comfortable with, things that I'm challenging myself with, and I'm sort of in this obstacle right now, but all of a sudden I did this class, and now I know this person, and here it comes, right? The smiles are coming out. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling me again.
Right.
Right. So that's, I think, a beautiful part of this journey.
So we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we can dive back into that, because that was something that I think we both experienced at Miraval. So we will be right back. Stay with us with Travel, Adventure, and Wellness.
Julie Bach is the Executive Director of Wellness for Cancer, therapist and educator, improving the well-being for people touched by cancer. Julie is recognized for bridging the medical world with the world of wellness and beauty. Julie trains spas, wellness centers, and resorts worldwide to accommodate those with or recovering from cancer and their families and friends. To chat with Julie or for more information, visit w4cancer.com.
Hi, this is John Douthit, President of Burke Catholic.
And this is Janice Clark, Principal of Burke Catholic.
We are inviting you to join us every Friday at noon on the BC Connection,
where you will learn all the great things happening at Burke Catholic.
Right here on Radio Worth Listening To.
Hi, this is John Tesh. Tune in for great music and intelligence for your life on weekdays at 1 p.m. as we assemble the tips, the facts, and the news you need to be happier, healthier, more lovable, and more fun to be around. Radio worth listening to.
We put the intelligence out there. You decide what to do with it.
WTBQ GHT weather.
For this afternoon, showers with isolated thunderstorm. Highs in the lower 60s. South winds gusting up to 30 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy with scattered showers. Lows in the lower 40s. Southwest winds gusting up to 30 miles an hour. Saturday, mostly cloudy, scattered showers, mainly in the morning. Highs in the upper 40s. West winds gusting up to 35 miles an hour. Low in the upper 30s. Sunday, partly sunny, highs in the mid 60s. Slight chance of showers in the afternoon. Lows in the upper 40s. I'm meteorologist John Slaughter.
So we are back with Travel, Adventure, and Wellness. I'm Brenda Otto with Sunray Travel, and my co-host is Julie Bach with Cancer for Wellness. We have we want to continue our conversation with our special guest from Miraval Berkshires. Gilbert Santana is the general manager joining us today, and Dina Niekamp, she's the associate vice president of sales and marketing brand. So before we went on break, we were talking about the social connections that people are experiencing at Miraval Berkshires. And I just wanted to kind of just jump back into that, because that was something that we really experienced while we were there these past couple of days, is that social connection with the other guests.
Well, we were also talking about self-discovery and passions and rekindling. And so I think that Gilbert was mentioning about how people were reconnecting with passions or discovering new ones.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think, too, hopefully there's things that all of our guests can experience that are a little bit out of the ordinary, whether that's working with animals in equine or getting up on the challenge course, or even just trying a new spa experience like Vasudhara, where it's just like a more sensory, immersive experience where you're actually in water and working on your other senses. So to Gilbert's point earlier, it's all about self-discovery and what you're comfortable in. As you both were talking, it's putting yourself out of your comfort zone. But hopefully we give you the opportunity to try something totally unique. And I know every time I've tried a new experience, it's always put me out of my comfort zone. And I'm always grateful after I did it. I leave with just feeling so grateful to the specialists, because the magic is really in the people, our colleagues that are taking you through these. I always say, sure, they're a yogi or they're an outdoor adventure specialist, but they're also a psychologist. Because they're the ones talking you through, getting you to the finish line, or just giving you a calming environment through a spa treatment, which is maybe what you need. So depending on where you are and what you want to do, whether it be physically or restorative, our people are the guides that really make the experience, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I think that's really right. The magic of Miraval. Our people not only are great at guiding, they're excellent listeners, right? So they are very personal in making sure that your intention is something that they're taking very seriously, and that we're making sure that we can pivot once again. Should you find something that's too uncomfortable, something you're not ready for, or something that you don't know exists, then that's how we sort of guide you through this journey. So there's recommendations without being very persuasive, but there's always, as you build these relationships with these incredible folks that work here, they are always easy processes for us to say, oh, have you tried this? Or now we see, right, you've done great here. There's a next phase to this if you want to try that. And it's the beauty of building this experience here. It can go many, many places. And by the way, it doesn't have to go anywhere. It may tell you that I'm going to go grab a latte at the Roost. I'm ready for a little bit of, me time. So privacy is something that we look forward to as well, giving you those spots where you can just go through your day.
Yeah, what percentage of people are going through something in their life versus just saying, hey, I'm curious about wellness, I'd like to explore that? What percent of people are actually going through some sort of transition, whether they recognize it or not?
Yeah.
I think we're all going through something.
True.
I would say that, Gina. Yeah.
Right, so true.
That's
so
exactly
true.
it, yes.
Yeah.
Some not recognize, some not ready to deal with it, but I would say that you do have what we call, one of my dear friends calls it being Miraval curious, where you don't know much about well-being, but you've heard about well-being, and you just want a large entryway to see if it's something that's going to fit your world. And we open that door very wide, right? So you can be curious, but most of the time, I'd say, I for real have found that things that I didn't know I needed to deal with, and Miraval has showed me, hey, this is something that you may be ready for now. So a good majority of the folks that come in here.
Yeah, I love
that.
And
I think it's a mix too. Like if someone's going through something from a medical perspective, that's certainly one journey, but to Gilbert's point, we can all look deeper. And what I love about our offerings is that they're interchangeable. So you could come as a couple and you could work on your couple relationship and what that means, whether it's down to astrology and do your stars align, or is it down to communication, or how do you relax and reconnect together? We have family reunions. That's a different level of bonding. But to answer your question, it's just a matter of what they're going on in their journey, and oftentimes we don't even know, or they don't even know, to Gilbert's point, and we unfold with them through the journey.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful point. And even for our listeners, maybe you do say, this is what I want to accomplish when I'm there, or this is the kind of experience I want to have. And, when you show up there, you're a different person that day, right? So like you said, it could change completely based on your interactions or how you woke up that morning, like Brenda wanted to stay in bed, whatever, but it's not set in stone, right? And being a human is a changing process from moment to moment is what I loved that Miraval met me wherever I needed to be.
Right. And like you said about trying the different classes that you have, getting out of your comfort zone. And that was the thing. The classes that I took basically were I've never experienced anything like that before. So it was really comforting. It was nice to be able to pick things that I hadn't done before, and the experience that you got out of it was really enjoyment.
Yeah, the 2 yoga classes I took, I think I was the only experienced yoga individual there. And the classes weren't like, you didn't have to commit a full long hour or so. Like they were 35, 40 minutes. So those were things. And if someone didn't like it, I'm sure that they could leave. But it was nice because it was like little sips if you wanted to explore. It didn't have to be a big, long commitment and just play with it.
So question I ask you is so people that are never experienced or not quite sure what wellness is, we're always talking about wellness, and a lot of people just don't know what that is. So when people book at your resort, how do they know to book all these activities? Is there do you send them information once they book to start scheduling, or how does all that work?
Yes. Go ahead.
I was just going to mention that exactly, Brenda. Everyone's different learners, so we have it organized several different ways. So when you book, we will send you communication to set up time with our experience planning team. And they're much more than reservationists because they're truly, again, kind of part psychologists. They're asking, what do you want to achieve? What are you going through? I'm going to describe this class. How does that speak to you? Do you want to be more or less physical? Do you want to be more in the spa or more out, working with animals? And so we'll personally guide you through a planning call. And as I mentioned, different people learn in different ways. So we also have something called Journeys with Intention on our website, which are sample itineraries broken down in the 11 most common reasons one might come to Miraval. And then I say the secret number 12, which is total customization, which is what we really strive for. We have a huge video library as well, and there's an adjacent Journeys with Intention video series. So if you'd rather watch and not read, and you're wanting to know more about what a spa retreat might be or a grief and loss retreat might be, you can watch dedicated video reels on each of those as well. And Gilbert mentioned earlier, too, we certainly want to plan ahead. We want to have that call with you before you arrive, because our classes are intimate and they do book up quickly. But that said, and Julie mentioned it earlier, plans change. You hear about something different, unique, you read something in the guide, and so we try to pivot with you. We certainly understand that and want to be as flexible as possible. So there's those experience planners on the ground at each of our resorts as well that can help you pivot once you're there. We don't expect everyone to understand what portion of wellness they might want. And actually, at our brand, we call it well-being, because it's so much more than wellness. It's mind, body, and soul. It's total enrichment. And so if we can just briefly speak to you and say, tell us a little bit about your journey and why you're interested in us or might be interested in us, we'll take it the rest of the way. And we might offer something that you never even thought about that might put you outside of your comfort zone.
I love that.
Absolutely. And Dina, I think that one of the things that we offer that's a little different as well is that through that uncomfortableness, there's things of comfort to your journey as well that we can customize. We're the only Miraval in the Berkshires here that has golf. We have an 18 golf course here, and we have something that's called mindful golf. So we incorporate Miraval experience into golfing. So you can have the day of comfort with you. We just introduce it in a different way through our golf pros. So everything we do here is laced through the Miraval well-being way. And many folks, to your point, don't even know what the first question is to ask in well-being. So we customize that for you. We make you feel comfortable. We can walk through that journey with you without making it too complicated again. And all of a sudden you may think, well, you know what? It's not really about health only, right? This is spiritual. This is my guidance. This is me repurposing my life. There's many things that I've probably thought about that I haven't been able to customize, and Miraval is just showing me that landscape. And that's it. I think that's where we exceed the rest, is that we can show you possibly a path that you never thought about.
Love that. Again, since for our listeners, please feel free to text in. I don't know the number.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The number is 845-328-0886. We'd love to hear your reactions to what we're talking about with Miraval and also well-being.
And so one of the programs I did probably 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, was a mindful golf program for cancer, for breast cancer and rehab. And so one of the things was keeping golfers in the game. And actually, it's really good movement and good, even just moving the arms and torso. So just something as simple as golf and taking it in a different way. That I loved how you said mindful, right? Because maybe the lie is a little different this time than what you were used to.
That's right. Or maybe your golf game is part of you needing well-being. It's because you get stressed when you play, and we show you different ways to not be so stressed in a sport that can be stressful.
Yeah, so I love it. You're the first place I've ever heard of call it mindful golf, and I love it because it's exactly that. It's a doorway into mindfulness, right? And you can become a better golfer by learning to be present, or as you said, not so stressed, or yelling because that shot wasn't great.
That's right. Absolutely.
I think you really covered the question of how people can. Once they book, how to learn what activities they should pick before they get there. And I do really like the fact that you offer that personal touch. So for people who aren't really sure what well-being is, having somebody to talk to about that, to set up their itinerary before they get there, I think it gives them a chance, a nice way to look forward to actually arriving there, that they've kind of have some exciting things going on, things that they may not have ever done before. So I really like the fact that you have that personal touch for, for the clients. So listen, we're going to take a quick break right now, but please stay with us. We are with Miraval Berkshires on travel, adventure, and wellness. We'll be right back.
Brenda Otto of Sunray Travel promises you more than a trip. She builds you a world-class adventure. Brenda customizes travel for those going through or recovering from cancer and their families and friends. Contact Brenda by visiting sunray-travel.com. Whether local, in your state, or anywhere in the USA, overseas, or to a beachy island, start your itinerary now by going to sunray-travel.com and live your dreams.
Hi, this is Dr. Anita Volpe, Vice President and Administrator for St. Anthony Community Hospital in Warwick. Please join me and my guests every Thursday at 10 a.m. on Health Matters. Call or text in because your health does matter.
I'm gonna make this place your home.
This is Christine Koenig,
Grace Warren, Brenda Wiley,
Dave Wilner
of Howard Hanna Rand Realty, and the hosts of The Real Real Estate Show.
Mondays at 10 a.m. It's radio worth listening to.
WTBQ.
All right, so welcome back to Travel, Adventure, and Wellness. We have with us today Gilbert Santana and Dina Nykamp from Miraval Berkshires Resort in Massachusetts. We were just talking about well-being and what they have to offer at Miraval Berkshires. In the conversation we had earlier, you talked about you have programs that are centered around specific animals. I know horses and maybe chickens.
The woman in our pottery class said, I went and visited the chickens, and I was really surprised.
Talk to us a little bit about that, because I know that sometimes animals are very therapeutic for people that are going through certain situations.
Absolutely. Listen, I would tell you that one of the experiences that's most attractive to folks is our equine experience, and in farming in itself, right? Because to your point, animals are many times the best judge of character, right? So we have something that we have the donkey experience here, and it's one of the best things you would ever do. And it's so easy. We typically take a group of folks and we introduce them to the animals, and the animals judge your energy. And it tells you a lot about how you can relax within an hour, right? So it's very simple, but it's actually something that we do here at many levels. But what we see here with that is it's one of those areas that teaches you that sometimes tension is coming into how you're approaching things. And it's not a human telling you, it's an actual animal telling you, I'm not comfortable coming to you yet, for whatever reason that may be. And through this process, through the guide of our specialists, at the end, you're typically one-on-one with the animal. And in donkey discovery, I've seen many a tear that has been phenomenal conversations that lead then to more experimenting. But yes, to your point, we have bees, we have chicken keeping, we have equine experience, we have the donkey experience. I mean, it's unlimited, especially here in the Berkshires, right? New England farming. So it's an incredible opportunity for someone that's never dealt with animals to come and experience it.
I had, growing well, my daughter, we had horses for a long time. And I know that for me, being around horses was just, for me, just the most wonderful thing. I mean, when you get to bond with an animal that size and they actually respond to you, it's such a good feeling when you can connect with that. And I think that is just a wonderful opportunity that you offer guests to be able to connect that way. A lot of people grow up, don't have horses, don't know what it's like to be on a farm. So I think that's a wonderful opportunity for people.
Brenda, what is the phone number for people to text in?
Okay, so we have people that are asking to text in. So the number is 845 845-328-0886. So if you want to text something in, it's 845-328-0886. So, anyway, we were talking about what you provide as far as the outdoors. Not only do you have, of course, the ability to communicate with the animals, which is great, but don't you have other programs too, like hiking and archery? You want to talk about those? Okay.
Absolutely. We have incredible hikes from entry level to experienced. We have kayaking. We have, you name it, if it's outdoors, it's actually, we're turning into that season. But the beautiful thing about the Berkshires is, regardless of the seasons, and we have them very pronounced here, is that we never stop having outdoor activities. I think being one-on-one with nature, when nature is telling you it's cold, it's okay to be outside. There's something beautiful about going on a hike and being the first set of footprints on snow, right? It's something that you probably haven't seen because we're so in our mind, but when we take you to these beautiful places and you're starting to carve your path and you look back and you see your journey, it starts telling you a life story as well. So not only through OA, not only through our farming, you name it, outdoors is something we love to do. We even do yoga classes outdoors in the summer, so we try to use the outdoors as much as possible.
Love that. And so now that I was there, now how do I bring Miraval home with me?
Well, it's such a good question, and it's something that we do try to think about a lot because not everyone has the time or the resources to come and visit us, once a month, once a quarter, although we would love you to. But the concept of bringing Miraval home is important to us. So while you're on site and you meet with our specialists, some will have handouts for you. Maybe it's a specialized subject or something more detailed, or again, if you're doing astrology, it might be a star map, etc. Again, you have that printed guide, and although it is simply a guide, our team on the marketing side spends much time putting it together, and we really have a lot of pride along with our specialists in that it turns into a souvenir. And I've talked to guests that have their guide on their desk from a visit 10 years ago, and they will pull it up when I'm on a call and reference it. But more easily, we have those videos I mentioned. We have over 100 videos, and we have some amazing partners like NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness, that we partner with on some of the series. So, for example, let's say you want to keep your meditation series going. We have many options. We have a guided meditation, and the visual is beautiful naturescapes of all three of our resorts. Or you want just sort of an ASMR experience, there's that option as well. But we've partnered with our specialists directly, and we've done 5-minute shorts. Maybe it's sound bowls or breathing exercises or a little bit more about your chakras. And so while we are digitally mindful while you're on site, we certainly know that to keep your practice going, and what's important and essential to me is having tools to keep my practice going, because I'm the first one to throw it out the window if I don't have a reminder or a guide to that. And so we have several things. And then just a small plug, we wrote a cookbook this past year. We had several cookbooks, and they were much older and with different teammates, and it certainly was time because your question, Julie, is one that we get often, and specifically around recipes or around something that someone did and just experienced and just cooked for me, or conducted themselves in a cooking class. So we worked with all three of our executive chefs, and more so nutritionists and our farmers, and brought our culinary philosophy full circle, which is the intersection of conscious eating. And we put together a cookbook that's for sale. And we talked about sleep earlier. We tried to really pull out every element. So even within that, we have a dream pillow ritual that supports optimal sleep through natural herbs and oils. So we truly are trying to share our learnings, and it certainly doesn't always come at a cost. There's many complimentary offerings as well, but just through communication with our guests on what they've wanted to bring home, we've tried to prepare a really robust offering for them to keep the Miraval magic and the lessons, which is the important parts, going. And hopefully you'll come back and visit us again soon.
And Dina, if I could say as well, if you're within driving distance, we do offer day passes on certain days. So let's say you can't get away for a full night. There's a possibility that we will have day passes on our site, and we can customize your day experience, and then you can drive back home. For those that benefit of driving distance. And I know that's not everyone, but if you need your Miraval fix, then maybe you can just do a drive and get it for the day and go back.
It's not far. I mean, it only took me, not even 2 hours to get there, and that's really simple driving. So the day passes, you can look at your website. And
yes, go through our same process, and we would do the same planning as well.
Okay.
I love that because some people, when they're in this cancer journey, sometimes it's just easier to take a daycation, right? And versus having to take an airplane ride and go somewhere else. So that is an area that several of our listeners have asked about with daycation. So I'm so glad that you do offer that. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So that is really good to know. And then, to be honest with you, rounding everything off with your property is, of course, my favorite. I never miss a spa treatment, and that was the thing for me that really, I think, put me at a total relaxation mode. And we're all, like you said, Dina, everybody's going through something, and what I found too was like being at the indoor-outdoor pool. Like after I was done, I was just there, just relaxing and, enjoying the moment. And I just kind of let everything go. There was some things, of course, we're all going through in life, but you just let everything, release from you, and you can feel that. It was just wonderful. It really was a wonderful experience. The spa is just gorgeous, very relaxing, in a place where you can just let everything go. I loved it.
Well, I think there's a lot of different treatments for variety, for different kinds of experiences. So I would encourage people to not just get a massage, right? But the menu is that floating, stretching people were raving about that.
Yes.
And hearing the underwater music with the eye, that just sounded so beautiful.
Yeah. So
that's Fasadara. That's one of our signatures, and I love that experience so much. And to your point, Julie, there's Ayurveda, there's acupressure, there's so much variety, and we certainly mirror your recommendation. Maybe you start booking what you're comfortable with, but when you get on that experience planning call, certainly ask what we might recommend, because there's so many. Our spa team's so creative, and they're constantly coming up with new and innovative treatments that we would love to extend to our guests.
Yeah, I mean, I even spoke with someone yesterday. She had a little anxiety, and so I saw that you had acupuncture, which is always a staple item for me, and she had never had it before. And I said, why don't you go speak with the activities director or concierge and ask and inquire about acupuncture. So it's a great way to even try things that you've been curious about within wellness.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted we're kind of going to be, we have a minute to just kind of wrap things up a little bit. But what I found at Miraval was that you have the whole package there for well-being for people who are, it doesn't matter, whatever their journey is, whatever they're going through, that you have that whole package there. So if we want to just talk a little bit about, the things that how you welcome people and how you recommend them get a hold of you, so that, our audience knows what they can actually expect as a whole package from Miraval.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'd love to stay in touch. Just for inspiration, please feel free to follow us, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We're on all the channels. What I always love to recommend, too, is staying in touch with our newsletter, because outside we're really passionate about offering you learnings, that whole concept of bring Miraval home. So we'll offer you unique blogs, tips, videos, but we'll also keep in touch with specials. We have always encouraged you to book through your travel professional, but it's great to know what's coming down the line from seasonality, and then special events and activations. So actually at Miraval Berkshires next week, we have our first ever Family Connection Week. And it is it's where we're testing, bringing some younger guests in that might have a wellness, well-being,
So,
curiosity, and come enjoy.
Yeah, Dina, we're going to have to close this out now. Sorry. But anyway, everybody just stay with travel, adventure, and wellness.